It wasn't perfect as a performance, was it, Dave? And I think for me, when you look at Harry Kane scoring the goal that he scored, thought he took that brilliantly, brought it down and lashed it in really, really well, showing what he can do as a striker. He's so important to England. But his performance was in spite of, I think, the players around him. Like, he still managed to score despite having very little service. Like, he was trying to create things himself and drop in deeper, which we don't really want Kane to do too much in an England shirt. We want him to be in the middle, receiving, crosses from wide or, from players cutting in. But one of Tuchel's frustrations was that both, obviously, Marcus Rashford and Phil Foden weren't doing enough of that. And Tuchel kind of mentioned how passing repetitions and phases weren't happening enough last summer when we went to the final of the Euros somehow. And we looked kind of scared, really, to play in the big stage and to play in competitions like that. I don't think we looked scared in this game, but we definitely looked short of ideas. And Rashford and Foden in particular were following this familiar pattern they've had for England in the last couple of years, really, where they're running down blind alleys or not putting killer balls in or not even having a go themselves. It would be a disappointing game for both of them, won't it?
Yeah, and it's interesting to hear his comments. Like you said, it's refreshingly quite honest. He was not pulling the wool across our eyes, kind of distracting us and kind of swerving the question, so to speak. He's very direct in his response, and he knows what we can improve on and what's not good enough. And like you say, you could see his sort of overall mood after the game. I think he probably wanted a little bit more in his first outing. But you could see in the game, I think there was too many sideways passes, too much kind of just like pointless possession, what I normally call it. It's just a lot of the times it would get kind of, passed across the pitch from one side to the other. It'd come to Phil Foden. He'd play it back down the line. There was no inventivity at all, to be honest. It was, you just wanted more, go at the defender. But again, you look at Foden, this is not what he's been doing in that Man City team, if we're being honest, over the last couple of years especially. I think his form's been very hot and cold. But we've talked about sort of individual quality. And that kind of talent where it's a little bit mercurial and a little bit unpredictable. I don't think he's that kind of player anymore. I think he's even said it himself. He likes to operate more central. So then what are you going to do? You're going to play him in the middle at the expense of, Jude Bellingham is probably the best number 10 you've got there.
Yeah.
And then Marcus Rashford, he's not been showing his most consistent form over the last 2-3 years, if we're being brutally honest. He's not... He's been a little bit better over the last few weeks at Villa, but even saying that, he's a player that earns in excess of 250 grand a week. You've got to be giving me a lot more than just a couple of 2 or 3 assists in 11 matches. That's not what an England player should be displaying. Should be displaying world class performances, because that is the outfit that we're potentially looking to be.
I get what you're saying, but I think with Rashford, I think in his defence, the Villa Rashford we've seen of late has been a lot more direct and has looked for Asensio in the middle quite a lot and has played that final ball really, really well. But I feel like the weight of expectation coming back into the England fold played on him a little bit. He looked worried, he looked cautious, and when he ran down the left, it felt like he didn't know where to go next, or he was, doubting himself a little bit. So I do think he's got a bit of a mental hurdle to overcome in an England shirt, as he did in a United shirt as well. So I think it's kind of unfair to be too critical on Rashford, but he needs to sort himself out. Otherwise, he's going to lose his place. We've got a lot of options, I think, in those wide positions. And Tuchel likes to have wingers. He likes to have wingers with somebody on the end of it, and with Kane in the middle, he's a world-class finisher, as we've seen. Foden doesn't provide that anymore. He wants to come inside, and I think that instinct was there. So as soon as Saka is back fit, he's there, isn't he? He's on that right hand side again for England, doing what we know he's going to do. And I think that's what Tuchel's frustration was for a lot of the play, including Curtis Jones as well. I think you could tell Curtis Jones frustrated a lot of fans and him as well, because he can do certainly so much more going forward. But if it wasn't for Rice alongside him, I think England would have probably struggled a lot more, because I thought Rice did well, Bellingham did well. But it's just those wingers that really let us down. And